Evan, we call the D1Baseball.com CWS Daily Preview. It is Tuesday. Day 5, gentlemen? Is that day cinco?
Who could
Does that
say?
feel right? Who could say? That's right.
Yeah, day
Um,
6.
yeah, joined by the great Aaron Zebediah Fitt, the also great Kendall Zachariah Rogers.
Oh.
Gentlemen, top of the morning to you. How we feeling? Day 5 or whatever? How's our pitch counts?
We're doing okay. I decided last night to go to bed a little early, left you guys out. I hope y'all held down the fort a little bit.
We did. Mincy, Jake, the great Jake Mintz, we sent home this morning, so we had to.
Oh, y'all were up when he went up to go to the airport?
No,
Well,
no.
no.
Oh, wow. I was like, ooh,
We bid him adieu. Is what I'm trying to say.
that's a power move if y'all stayed up till we went to the airport.
Yeah, I gotta say the Cespedes family barbecue guys, the Shock Factor crew, an excellent addition in Omaha
Yeah.
this year. Very
In,
fun.
in fact, I think we decided last night that Jake Mintz is the recipient of the 2022 Colin Deaver breakout star in the press box this year. So congratulations to the
Yeah.
latest Deaver Award winner.
Yes, congratulations to the Jewish Hindenburg. It's been a big season for him. So, boys, speaking of blimps, let's talk about our presenting sponsor for the postseason, Wilson. If you're at the CWS this week, you'd absolutely have to come check out the Omaha experience in the Baseball Village. It's fantastic. 4 of your favorite baseball brands under one roof: Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, and Evo Shield. It really is cool over there. If you're not in Omaha, just make sure you're following along with us. D1Baseball. We'll be checking in every day, and especially with Wilson and their new releases. And Fitzy, do you have a message for the peoples?
Well, yeah, I'd just like to remind people, if you don't mind, if you'd be so kind, if you're watching us on YouTube, to hit that subscribe button, and maybe you could even hit the like button. You can hit them both. It'd be awesome. We'd appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Boys, let's recap yesterday, and then we will talk about today. Ole Miss. Let's do Auburn, Stanford. Auburn 6, Stanford 2. Kendall, what's your big takeaway on that one?
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting game. I mean, it kind of looks like, you guys were there too. I mean, it kind of looks like Auburn there in the early innings. Like they're making mistakes on the base paths. Like they just don't look like they're dialed in. And I just thought, that game flipped in the middle of the game. The game flipped in the middle innings. And, I think the two things kind of stood out. Number one, I was impressed with Auburn's ability to kind of come back in that. It's easy when you're getting in the middle innings and in Omaha, an elimination game. It's not looking good. You don't have the momentum. It's just easy to kind of get down and out, and I'll give them a lot of credit for responding. I think the other thing for me is they made Quinn Matthews throw a lot of pitches. He was trying to work that outside corner a lot, especially against Sonny and some of their better hitters, and they weren't biting on it, and he wasn't throwing those pitches, for strikes in the zone. So they made him work, and, he wasn't real sharp, and I think we would all agree if Quinn Matthews is not sharp for Stanford, Stanford's in trouble. And so I think that's just kind of the way things, worked out in that game. So, give Auburn credit, but Stanford, I didn't think played very well here.
No. I'll say this, a couple of things. Number one, there were some key matchups in this game, pitting, stars against stars. And Auburn went out and beat the biggest star Stanford has on the mound, Quinn Matthews. I mean, right now, anyway. I mean, the way that he's been pitching versus the way Alex has been pitching, Matthews is the guy. And they scored all 6 of their runs against him. When it came down to it, Stanford had some opportunities to extend the lead. I mean, Brock Jones and Carter Graham in the 5th inning with a runner on third base, and Trace Bright struck them both out. And then in the 7th, I think it was, bases loaded, one last chance really for Stanford to get back into the game. They're down 6-2, got the tying run at the plate. Auburn brings in Blake Burkhalter, to face the number 3 hole hitter, Brett Barrera, and Burkhalter strikes him out. So Auburn just their guys won those big moments. And Kendall mentioned the base running mistakes or whatever. Really, I think it comes down to that 5th inning. And I thought it was interesting. Butch Thompson said that was his favorite inning, because even though they made a couple of mistakes, they bunted into a force out at third base, and then they tried a first and third delay steal thing, and it didn't work. But he said, we played some goofy baseball, as he put it, but for him it was like he felt like that kind of got them loose and back into attack mode maybe a little bit. He kind of likened it to that inning yesterday or the other day with Oklahoma, where they ran into the first and third outs of the inning at third base. And he said, he's like, that tells me that they're doing exactly what they need to be doing. They're attacking. And that kind of got them going a little bit is what he thought. I thought that was an interesting take.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if I put my coaching hat on, if you feel like your team is just in a fog, let's trade these passive mistakes for aggressive mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you're making mistakes anyway. And man, yeah, there was Blake Burkhalter, like Cade Horton, made himself some money yesterday. Mike Monaco, the play-by-play guy for ESPN, who's fantastic, he said that there was a 27 pitch sequence for Burkhalter where he had 12 swings and misses.
Yeah.
So like he's throwing 27 pitches and 12 of them are just swing and miss. He was insanity, up to 97, 92 mile an hour cutter, a legit 84 mile an hour changeup. So, Auburn, hey, and here's the other thing, guys. Stanford's been so home run dependent, and the day games are just not yielding home runs unless you just totally hook one into the bullpen. There was 9 doubles in the game, and it did feel like that suited Auburn more than Stanford. And yeah, I would say this, guys, for Stanford, it's hard. I never will call a season that ends in Omaha a bad season. I think if you got here, it's a big deal. And that's 2 in a row for Stanford. I feel like that's big time, a program on the rise. But the truth is they didn't play great in the postseason. I mean, 5 elimination games, 0-2 in Omaha. They really got here on the strength of their talent and the program's trajectory. They just, that happens to teams. Like they just didn't play great at the end of the year. But man, like super bullish on Stanford in every way.
Yeah,
they grinded their way here with a pitching staff that was always short.
Yep.
I mean, that's just to have the season that they had with the pitching that they had, and to get to Omaha, I think it's a huge success. I don't think any of us really expected them, frankly, even though they were the highest seeded team in this tournament. I don't think maybe Runes expected them to win it all.
I think I picked Texas, but I had Texas beating them. Not good.
And then you jumped off the bandwagon when it came to picking the individual games.
I did pick Auburn yesterday, so there you go.
You picked against them twice, and you were right because they just didn't have the pitching to do it. And the fact that they were able to get here with that staff, I think actually is encouraging because they will have years where they have got more complete traditional Stanford pitching staffs, and then they'll be even better.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought Drew Dowd threw well for him yesterday.
Yep.
He gave them, was it 5 strong innings? He had a, pretty sharp slider. He was able to command it. And so, he's back next year. They've got a lot of pieces back next year, even though they do lose some key players.
But one final thought on that game. Burkhalter, you mentioned Runes. I mean, I thought, first of all, that cutter that he showed was the single best offering we've seen from anyone in Omaha. 93. But and the overall package of stuff, I mean, was it better than Cade Horton's stuff with that? I mean, he's got a plus changeup too. I think it's a plus changeup. It's a ridiculous cutter. It is 97. Like, and it's got 71 strikeouts and 7 walks this year. I mean, it's wow. How does that guy not go good in the draft? He's got
Yeah, Aaron, the other guy too, Trace Bright. I was looking through my notes actually yesterday while I was watching the game, and from Globe Life earlier this year, like I had him like 92, 93, bump it a 4. And I mean, it was like 94, 96 yesterday for Auburn. So it's just interesting, his velocity has ticked up this year.
There's some talent on that. That Auburn's pitching staff is sneaky talented. There's some really good arms on there. So, hey, let's do Ole Miss, Arkansas. Ole Miss 13, Arkansas 5. Fitzy, what do you got there?
Well, that game was interesting. I thought the first couple innings, we had a couple of back and forths there, the first 2 innings. And then Ole Miss just kind of pulled away, and we had another snoozer when it came down to it. We've still not had a game decided by fewer than 4 runs out here, by the way. How many games has it been now? Is that 6? I don't know.
You played 6.
Yeah. So, Ole Miss is just rolling right now. And to get the production they got from the 9-hole, Calvin Harris, 2-run double, 2-run homer, that was big. Obviously, Justin Bench in the leadoff spot with 4 hits, just up and down the order. They're getting a lot of production, and Hunter Elliott settled in. Kendall, this was your game, Kendall, if you want to expound more upon it. But I thought Elliott certainly settling in after that, giving up a couple runs the first 2 innings was a big key to the game, certainly.
Yeah, for sure. I think it all kind of started with Arkansas's decision to start Zach Morris. I think Dave Van Horn after the game, it seems like he was second guessing himself a little bit. Said, "Hey, it's hard to beat somebody when you come out and don't throw strikes." And I think we all discussed yesterday. We thought that they might go with Will McIntyre. They go with the lefty. Looks like Ole Miss hits hits a little less against left-handers OPS wise, and they went with Zach Morris because of that. It didn't work out for him, but I tell you what, as long as Hunter Elliott's throwing the way he is, I don't think it really even matters. I love his charisma. After the game, somebody asked him, "Hey, you remind me of Doug Nikhazy," and we all kind of say that, right? But like, he made a point and like kind of stoically made the point that like I don't really compare myself to anybody. Like I don't really look at him and the way he approaches things. Like I'm Hunter Elliott, and like I just kind of love that swagger from a freshman, and he's just pitching like a guy with supreme confidence. He's got good stuff, and then you look at the rest of this team. They're making great defensive plays. They're getting production top to bottom. We talk so much, about teams that go on runs here. They have emerging heroes, and Calvin Harris was a guy who had a roller coaster regular season. Didn't really play or hit a lot in the middle of the year in conference play. Now here in Omaha, he had a multi-hit game last night. Got a lot of production from the bottom. Justin Bench has been terrific the last couple of weeks in the postseason. And then the usual suspects in the middle with guys like Tim Elko. I just love the vibe of this team. They look like they're unbeatable. And that's not to say that they're just going to, sweep through this thing, win the national title, and not even be threatened. But, boy, they're just playing at an extremely high level. And I kind of wrote this a little bit last night. And granted, Mississippi State's games were a little closer, actually. I think Mississippi State won the game like 2-1 and 5-3. But, I mean, they the big plays they're making, they just remind me so much of the run that MSU went on last year, where you're just like, okay, like they just seem destined to win this thing.
And all this, boys, with Jacob Gonzalez not playing great. I mean, he's it's really fascinating.
He had an RBI single last night, but you're right, he hasn't played awesome.
Yeah, not like the defense has been below par for him. The offense has been, it's a good point. The offense has been fine, but not like first 5 picks in the draft offense. And like for Arkansas, I actually thought they didn't play poorly last night. They just didn't pitch at all. And it's so, man, so interesting.
And I get the reason you start a lefty is because of the splits. The Ole Miss splits, they're a lot better against right-handed pitching. But I mean, I think the curious thing is you've got a guy in Hagen Smith, and I get it. We all see that he's been really good out of the bullpen. He's been better out of the bullpen, and I get wanting to keep him in that role. But I mean, you start Morris, who's got 1 start all year, really been a bullpen guy, or Hagen Smith, who's got 15 starts or something. I mean, he's been in the rotation all year. He's at least used to doing it. So even if you prefer to maybe keep him in the bullpen, like maybe it makes sense to go with the guy who's done it.
Right.
Anyway. It's interesting too when you look at Arkansas as we kind of look ahead to maybe the pathway to get in the championship series. Is the teams in bracket 2 are at a disadvantage because A&M, they had the elimination game against Texas. They got a day off. And then they play. Well, Arkansas now has to win tonight, tomorrow night, and then win the next day to play for a national championship.
The advantage
they have to play 3 straight games.
Yeah, the offset they get, guys, is they get to play night games, which is, I think, that's the other thing that's going to be so fascinating today.
The high is 87 a day.
Yeah. So, KP said on the broadcast last night that he thinks the wind is going to completely shift. So that would be kind of fun.
Right now it's 10 miles per hour out of the north, so it's going straight out.
Gosh, that would be fun. That would be awesome. Boys, let's do that. Let's fast forward. So the day game is A&M Notre Dame. Fitzy, what are you thinking here?
Yeah,
he's got to pick against the Aggies.
Yeah, I mean at this point, I think I'm committed to just picking against the Aggies every game because it doesn't matter. Whatever I pick for them, I'm going to be wrong. If I pick for them, they're going to lose, and vice versa. I can't get this team figured out. I think I know who they are. I think we all do. They're just that team that grinds you down and wins ugly, and maybe they'll do that again today. But I just think Notre Dame is the better club because they defend better. It's so much better. That defense should matter at some point. Defense should matter. It's going to be a whole staff approach here for Notre Dame, especially. I think we expect Nathan Detmer to start for A&M, coming back on what he started. Was that the first day of the tournament? I don't know.
Yeah, it was first day.
Okay, so yeah, so I mean that's what 4 days rest. I don't know. I mean, but like it's gonna be another one of those where you probably see a lot of arms for both sides. But Notre Dame's been able to do that pretty well. I don't know. I mean, feels like a toss-up game. I'll take the Irish.
Kendall, what are you thinking here?
I'm thinking Aaron's going to be complaining in about the 5th inning whenever we've been playing for like 2.5 hours, because you're talking about A&M's offense in a bullpen game for both teams. That equals a really, really long game. I will go with A&M here. I think with the wind blowing out, I think that kind of suits their offense a little bit better. And let's not forget, I mean, even in the loss to OU, A&M's offense wasn't the issue. I mean, they scored 8 runs. They ran Jake Bennett out of the game in the middle innings. So I think A&M's going to score runs. I mean, I think Notre Dame will too, but I just think A&M for me has more kind of that home run punch, and I think with the wind shift, I think that kind of benefits them a little bit more than Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's offense takes a lot of pitches too, and a big key in this game is if it's Nathan Detmer or whether it's Will Johnson on the bullpen, the Aggies are going to have to throw strikes, and as Aaron said, they're going to have to at least attempt to defend today.
Yeah. Those are, you just answered the questions that are in my mind, Kendall. It's like, okay, the new field conditions, who does that favor? Does it favor A&M or does it favor Notre Dame? Fitzy, your question's the other one I have. Does bad defense even matter? Or maybe it doesn't matter anymore. And then who's more suited for a bullpen game? Probably lean A&M there as well. It's a question that I would love to be able to ask, but maybe we're just going to have to get the answer by observation. Is Link Jarrett is such a really cool baseball thinker, and when you're playing a team like A&M, that I saw Jeremy Mills stats, ESPN stats and info against Texas, A&M averaged like 4.6 pitches per at bat. Which is, like ridiculous. It's basically
I don't know how they
pitches.
take so many pitches. Like, there's no way I could do that as a hitter.
Well, the number of foul balls is part of it, right? Like they had 47 foul balls, some ridiculous number.
47.
Yeah. So the question is, like, what do you do? Like, when you talk to big league pitchers, what they'll tell you is, at this point, I'm just throwing the ball down the middle. I am not letting you just wreck my outing with foul balls. I'm going to throw it down the middle and hope that you make outs. So I'm curious if that's the approach that Link Jarrett would take. All that said, I'm taking A&M. They feel like such an uncomfortable opponent right now.
I will say this too. I mean, I actually kind of feel like the bullpens are equal. You look at Notre Dame; they can bring Alex Rayo back. Jack Finley could come out of the bullpen. He was obviously great against Tennessee. So I actually feel like the pushes with the bullpens. I just think ultimately A&M's power, I think, is the differentiator here.
And I say don't sleep on Notre Dame's power. We saw them go to Knoxville and beat Notre Dame with the home run.
Yep.
No doubt.
I mean, beat Tennessee rather.
For sure. Arkansas, Auburn. KR, why don't you kick us off on that one?
I mean, I honestly have no idea what to expect from this game. I mean, I assume Arkansas will start with Will McIntyre. I think if they do that, I probably like their chances. Who's Auburn starting? Mason Barnett?
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, this game's a total toss-up to me. I mean, ultimately, it just depends on what Arkansas's bullpen does. I think the Hogs are the more talented team. I think they're the better team. So I'll lean the Hogs, but I have no real feel on this one. I'll be honest with you guys.
Fitzy?
I'm going to go Auburn today. And I, as I said yesterday, I was planning to take Auburn yesterday, and I talked myself into Stanford on the fly. That was a mistake. Auburn, I think, is pretty good. I think they're a good club. And it feels like now, you got to win under your belts. Maybe you can build a little momentum versus, Arkansas maybe going backwards a step. I don't know. I mean, I guess the key question is, if with winds blowing out, and it becomes a more offensive situation, can Auburn keep up with Arkansas, if it gets into one of those kind of games? Because they do have, I mean, Auburn has offensive firepower too. They showed that in the regional, but their offense has not been as hot lately. And so I think a lot rides on Mason Barnett being able to go out there and get them into the 5th inning or so in good shape. Now, I mean, maybe it favors Arkansas. Here I go. I'm talking myself into Arkansas again. Maybe it favors Arkansas because we just saw Burkhalter extended some yesterday, so he might be less of a factor today at the back end. But I don't know. But whatever. I'm gonna go Auburn. I haven't picked Auburn yet. Here we go.
Fitzy, you and your swing coach in the offseason, I think you guys are going to have a lot of tape to look at. I've seen a lot of like changing swing decisions in the backswing, and it's going to be could be a long offseason for Team Fit. Like really some stuff to break down. Not that I should talk. I'm like
well, Fit picks against A&M. I feel like I've picked against Auburn the whole road.
You picked for them the other day when they lost the first day.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Boys,
you for keeping track.
I'm picking Arkansas because I trust Will McIntyre more than I trust Mason Barnett. And I actually, again, I feel like Arkansas played pretty good last night. They just their position player group never had a chance because they pitched so poorly. And I don't think they'll pitch poorly today.
And here's the other thing, too. Aaron made a good point about Blake Burkhalter being extended a little bit. Arkansas hasn't thrown Brady Tiger yet. So, I mean, that's kind of the secret sauce here in this game tonight is they can bring him in the 8th if the game's close and kind of keep things at bay, even if it's a tie ball game.
Yep.
Or Hagen Smith, as we were just saying. So, I mean, I
think we'll see a lot of Hagen Smith today is my guess.
I feel like Arkansas is in better shape here, and realistically, they feel like the smarter pick. But
Aaron's about to flip his pick again, isn't he?
No, I'm going to stick with it. We're gonna go Tiger. War damn Eagle.
Ward WDE. Love it. Sunny D. Yeah, Sunny D hasn't really got on it yet, has he? Like the hit by pitch yesterday, but it's been just okay. Just okay. Been fun having him though.
Big key for them. And Rambush was also a big key and had a couple of hits.
That was good to see. Get Rambush going.
Yeah. And so now we'll see if they can get Sunny going as well.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Well done. Hey, want to say thanks again to Wilson, our presenting sponsor for the postseason. Doubleheader today. Everybody enjoy the games, and we will catch you tomorrow morning.